Hi, I'm George Donnelly with the Jury Rights Project, and I'm here today with Jim Babb, my collaborator on the End Victimless Crimes prosecutions in New York City in 2015. How you doing today, Jim?
Awesome. Great to be with you, George.
Excellent. So, Jim and I are here with you today to talk about the awesome and shocking success that this campaign has had. We just kicked it off a little over a week ago with a goal of raising a total of about $4,000, and we've broken that goal now, thanks to libertarians on Facebook and Redditors on the subreddits of let's see, the Libertarian subreddit, the Bitcoin subreddit, Darknet Markets, the ANCAP subreddit. And in fact, 52% of the donations that have come in so far have come in the form of Bitcoin. So Jim and I promised you put forth the donations, more than 60 people, and now we're delivering. That's another thing we want to tell you about. Jim, why don't you tell us about the delivery aspect?
Okay, well, the ads went up on December 29th in Manhattan. We've got 6 kiosk display ads, which are these large noticeable ads on the sides of telephone booths surrounding the U.S. courthouse in southern Manhattan. And this is a really important area. This is a wholesale court operation. There's countless victims of the justice system being processed in there. Thousands and thousands and thousands of potential jurors are going to see this message. I'm going to throw up a couple screenshots right now of some of the ads so people can see where they are.
Just a real quick, let me just jump in with a real quick reminder for anybody who isn't aware of the original campaign. What it's about is we're informing New York City jurors and the New York City public of their historical right and sacred civic responsibility to nullify bad laws in the jury box during the entire month of January 2015. And now that we have January paid for, we're going for February. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, so I've put up a screenshot of one of the ads. This is, basically what they look like. The primary message is jury duty, know your rights, and Google jury nullification. That's really what I want people to get away from this is to go home and do their own research. So hopefully we've got just enough of their attention without bombarding them with too much information to make them say, well, what is this? And then to sort of just pique their curiosity. This is going to be part of a street outreach campaign, which is going to begin on January 5th, which I'm also really excited about. We've got some handouts which sort of match this look, so people are going to get multiple messages coming at them from different vectors, and hopefully that will have a nice reinforcement effect and will reach even more people that way. So we're really going to do what we can to get noticed in this environment. It's Manhattan, so just standing out against the background noise is going to be tough, but with the volunteers that we have and these great ads we've got out there, I think we're going to have an impact.
I think so too. I'm really excited about it. And actually, this area where the ads are, these 6 phone kiosk ads, they kind of surround the Civic Center area of Lower Manhattan, where there are a ton of government offices, from One Police Plaza, which is NYPD headquarters, to various courts, including New York Supreme Court, the U.S., the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the New York County District Attorney, even the IRS and the Manhattan Borough President. So there are a lot of people who go through these areas, having to deal with these different agencies, who can be helped by this information. And what we're doing here, even though this runs concurrent, partially concurrent at least, with the Ross Ulbricht trial, what we're really going here for is something larger. We want to kick off an end to victimless crimes prosecutions in New York City. The government has basically, or the justice system has basically become a revenue generation mechanism that pulls people in through the courthouse doors and spits them out into cages in prisons where countless lives are ruined. And that's why we have the highest, the United States is the country with the highest incarceration rate in the world. This is our chance to have an impact, and now that the first month, the whole month of January is paid for, we are going for the second month. And we need your support to spread the word about this campaign, and so that we can raise the additional $4,000 to pay for the month of February. Jim, why do you think, do you want to chime in for on why should people support this? Why is it in people's self-interest? Libertarians, Redditors, progressives, conservatives. Why should they really get in on this effort?
Well, first I want to maybe just take a minute to thank the generous contributors that have made this segment possible, and I think it's really incredible that in a very short period of time we were able to raise these funds from, I think we've got 50-ish numbers, 50 contributors. Some people it was just a couple bucks of Bitcoin. Other people it's hundreds of dollars. Whatever the amount is, it's fantastic, and it's absolutely gratifying that people see the value in this, like we do.
I'm deeply grateful for those contributors, and we're going to have a big impact with that money, I guarantee you.
And this is sort of an area where I mean, the justice system, most of us in libertarian circles, if you've been paying attention for any amount of time, you know how screwed up the justice system is. I mean, it is stacked for convictions from the get-go. It is just a factory. It's an assembly line operation where they just want to bring people in the front door and exit out the back door right into the police van and take them to jail. It is horrible. And we've got, I mean, there's millions of people in cages in this country, a large percentage of which are there for victimless crimes, have no business being in jail, and there's very little way to have an impact on this. It's like, what can you do? Are we supposed to go vote for people to change these laws? Are we supposed to tell our congressmen? It seems just ridiculous to even talk about those kind of things. But there's one element of the whole process they don't control completely, and that's the jury. As long as they have to go through the motions and put a jury in place, that is an area where individuals can have a major impact. So before the government can put their hands on a person, before they can send somebody to jail, they have to convince these 12 jurors that that's the right thing to do. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know that they have the power to say not guilty if the law is bogus. They think, well, he did have a joint, I guess I have to convict because that's what they told me. The judges, the prosecutors, nobody's going to tell them what their rights are, so that's where we come into play. Our job is to let people know that they have this right. It's a centuries-old tradition. It's been the cornerstone of our justice system for hundreds and hundreds of years, but yet they've gone to great lengths to make sure people don't know about this power. So every time we can get this out, every pamphlet, every time somebody can see a billboard and go home and do some research, every time they think about it, it's a chance to save somebody from wrongful prosecution or wrongful imprisonment. So to me, that's why this is so important, because I'm sick and tired of peaceful people being sent away into cages for. It's disgusting, and I don't know what else to do about it, and that's why I think this is such important work.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jim. It's so many lives ruined. Something like 86% of federal prisoners in 2011 were in there for victimless crimes. These are lives ruined, and it doesn't just affect poor people. It's a great contributor, I think, for poverty. I mean, how can you escape poverty if you're in a cage and if you're paying lawyers and court fees and fines and whatnot, or if you have the breadwinner of the household in a cage? But it also affects other people, not so poor people, such as the case of Brian Aitken in New Jersey a few years ago, where he was sentenced to 7 years in a cage just over legally possessing a firearm while moving between states. So this is just a basic governance, basic civil rights issue. It's these have been our rights for 800 years, and they need to continue being our rights, and we need to exercise them. Otherwise, we're going to lose them. We've effectively lost them at the moment through a lack of exercise. We need to reclaim them. If it wasn't for this inherent power to nullify bad laws through the jury box, if jurors were punished for rendering verdicts that judges or prosecutors or members of the public disagree with, then we would have kangaroo courts. So this power is the only thing that gives the justice system any kind of validity or credibility, and it's really the difference. It makes the difference between Orwellian kangaroo courts and serious tribunals of justice.
That's the truth. And I think what also makes it really interesting is that a single juror has enormous veto power. That one person, you don't need to convince 50%. You don't need to win the election. You don't need to have a candidate in there. You don't need to have some legislature passed. You don't need to do any of this. You need one person with a conscience to say, that's BS. I'm saying not guilty. You know what? I don't care if he did water his lawn when he shouldn't. I'm saying not guilty. Or I don't care if he didn't water his lawn when he shouldn't. Or so what if he sold raw milk? Or so it's like so many different BS crimes. You don't need a whole bunch of people. You just need one. So and that's so exciting to say. Like, look, it's just a single person that has that enormous veto power. So I think when people realize that, they're kind of surprised. They're like, "What? You mean I could sit on a jury and I don't even have to? You don't even have to convince the other jurors. You can just sit there and be like, no, not guilty." You don't have to say why he's not guilty. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to convince the other jurors. You just say, didn't make his case. Not guilty. And sit there. That's all you have to do to send a peaceful person back to their family instead of to a cage. That's a big deal.
It really is. And when people do that over and over again, prosecutors get tired of losing, and so they stop prosecuting those cases, and they'll redirect their resources to real crimes, and that's how legislators got the signal to stop alcohol prohibition in the 1920s. That's one way that people sent a signal to end slavery, in the 1850s with the fugitive slave laws. So this is a really powerful mechanism of our republic. It's a really powerful mechanism for ensuring justice, real justice, and it's simply important that it be exercised, or else the power is lost and our justice system loses all credibility. And that leads, you see when a public institution loses credibility, like the police now, to a certain extent, it can lead to vigilantism and violence and whatnot. So it's critically important to protect the integrity of these institutions.
Or it also as people lose faith in them. I mean, let's face it. Anybody that has experience with the justice system doesn't have any faith in it. It's pretty bad. I mean, it is really bad. And if people want to have a justice system that's worthy of respect, there have to be changes in there, and that change will not begin at the next election. That change will begin from the bottom up through the individual people of the community, and the first place that voice is heard is in the jury box. So that message has to go up to the top. I mean, we've just look at New York right now. Yeah, the police lost a lot of credibility. But look at the way they had to sort of back off, and they said, "Well, wait a minute. Let's stop all the harassment and let's focus on crimes right now." So, I mean, New York, at least for the moment, is getting a beautiful respite of harassment from the NYPD, from what I've read. So, when they have to respond to pressure, they can't just ignore it, and because there will be backlashes.
That's right. So let's wrap this up. Thanks for listening to this or watching this video. We again really appreciate your support for this project so far. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to have a big impact To get updates about the project, what's going on, please visit juryrightsproject.com/NYC. All the information about this project is there. You can sign up for email updates. We'll keep you informed about what's going on, and if you'd like to join the campaign through a contribution or by joining the pamphleting, the street pamphleting, or if you'd like to organize a chapter of the Jury Rights Project or just learn more about your jury rights, juryrightsproject.com is a good place to start. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, the Libertarian subreddit, the Bitcoin subreddit, Darknet Markets, the ANCAP subreddit. And in fact, 52% of the donations that have come in so far have come in the form of Bitcoin. So Jim and I promised, you put forth the donations, more than 60 people, and now we're delivering. That's another thing we want to tell you about. Jim, why don't you tell us about the delivery aspect?
Okay, well, the ads went up on message. I'm going to throw up a couple screenshots right now of some of the ads so people can see where they are.
Just a real quick, let me just jump in with a real quick reminder for anybody who isn't aware of the original campaign. What it's about is we're informing New York City jurors and the New York City public of their historical right and sacred civic responsibility to nullify bad laws in the jury box during the entire month of January 2015. And now that we have January paid for, excellent. So Jim and I are here with you today to talk about the awesome and just, you know, shocking success that this campaign has had. We just kicked it off a little over a week ago with a goal of raising a total of about $4,000, and we've broken that goal now. Thanks to libertarians on Facebook and Redditors on you know, the subreddits of
On December 29th in Manhattan, we've got 6 kiosk display ads, which are these large noticeable ads on the sides of telephone booths surrounding the U.S. courthouse in southern Manhattan. And this is a really important area. This is a wholesale court operation. There's countless victims of the justice system being processed in there. Thousands and thousands and thousands of potential jurors are going to see this message.
Hi, I'm George Donnelly with the Jury Rights Project, and I'm here today with Jim Babb, my collaborator on the End Victimless Crimes prosecutions in New York City in 2015. How you doing today, Jim?
Awesome. Great to be with you, George.